All right. Hello, all you sports fans out there in podcast land, and welcome once again to another edition of Babbling Brooks, your new favorite podcast, where I, your host Brooks, try to bring you some of today's sports news with just a little twist, my point of view. Hope everyone is having a happy hump day, a wonderful Wednesday, if you will. Beautiful day in the A. Enjoyed my day off, my Saturday, and love having my 2 days off in a row. Took it easy yesterday, watched the Braves win another one in extra innings up there in Philadelphia. And honestly, that's pretty damn impressive. Even before we get into all the history that the Braves were making in this game, just to beat a team as good as the Phillies are, not as good as us, obviously, but they have been a thorn in our side historically. And just a dangerous team. You know, Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, all these dudes. Trey Turner. Like, they can do some damage. And they have. The Braves have been able to maintain the upper hand, taking 2 of the first 3 games in this series, including 2 extra winning wins on the road. And it's tough. It's tough winning on the road because, like, we always talk about baseball having the best home field advantage of any sport. Because it's the only sport where you are guaranteed the final 3 outs. You always have the last chance, the last dance. So it helps out a lot because you can do stuff where the other team cannot answer. And just sit there and watch. You walk it off, which is one of the cool moments about being a home team. But it gets even tougher in extra innings because it doesn't take very much when you get that guy on second base. You take a couple. If the first 2 outs are sacrifice flies, you get 2 outs but 1 run. So that makes it a really tough situation to win. So for the Braves to do it twice in 3 games, of course, they did the opening game of the doubleheader on Monday before losing the final game of the doubleheader. But then another 10th inning win. Eddie Rosario coming up big with a base hit to send Forrest Wall home, baby, home. And I think that's going to be a very important role for Forrest Wall going forward. He's not going to be somebody who probably gets very many, if any, at-bats in the postseason. But if somebody that's not very fast, maybe like, Ozuna, Travis d'Arnaud, if they are the last out of the night, they're the extra guy. It's a nice little move. You got Forrest Wall you can replace them with. And he, moved right on over. Was like, start out, d'Arnaud grounded out to start out the inning. But was able to move Wall over. So that meant Eddie Rosario, all he had to do was just pop one into the outfield and did it off Craig Kimbrell, who is a damn good closer. And, ain't no joke. He took the loss in this one, though. He's 7-6 still. The win for the Braves going to Raisel Iglesias after kind of got a blown save in the 9th inning. Didn't look like it would be a situation where we needed a save early on in this game. As the Braves, man, they were, they put up some numbers in this one, making some history. Phillies did get on the board first, however. It was actually a no-hitter going for Max Fried at the time. And it was broke by Castellano's home run, just like that. Phillies are up 1-0. But not too long later, Matt Olson, y'all remember, he just hit home run number 49, home run number 50 in the losing effort in Game 2 of Monday's Twin Tout Bill. But what does Matt Olson do? Comes up to bat and just creams it. 100-mile-an-hour out the park, just like that. Not only is yesterday's game tied at 1 at this point, but also Matt Olson just tied Andruw Jones for the most home runs ever in a season by a Brave. Not just an Atlanta Brave, by a Brave. Andruw Jones, of course, has held that record for, 20 years almost. Not quite, almost 30 actually. Shit, getting old. But, Andruw Jones rooting for Matt Olson. And it's cool because Matt Olson grew up rooting for Andruw Jones just like me. So it's got to be a cool moment for him to, passing all these legends on the way. Dale Murphy, even though I always think of him as more of a Philly, which is this weird just blank space where I just don't pay attention, I guess, to the years that Dale Murphy was in Atlanta. I don't know, when I started watching baseball, Dale Murphy was a part of the hated fucking Phillies. So I think I've always kind of associated him with that. But he was an all-time Brave great. More on him coming up. But, and also, of course, passing Hank Aaron and Eddie Matthews on the way. And now he's one of 2 Braves players ever with 50 homers in a season. And you better damn believe he's breaking that record. May not be tonight, but it might. I mean, the way he's been hitting lately after going 18 games without a home run, I don't see him doing that again. But the Braves were not done. That was the top of the 4th. How about the top of the 5th inning? Ronald Acuna Jr. comes up. Michael Harris, the second on base. Ronald Acuna Jr. only had 1 hit in this game, but boy, did he make it count. 2-run homer, just like that. It's a 3-0 game. And with that home run, with that stepping onto home plate, Ronald Acuna Jr. passes Dale Murphy, we're just talking about him, remember, for the modern Braves record for runs scored in a season. Only guys with more was like King Kelly and some guys from like the 1800s. When I don't even know if they were even officially the Braves yet. They still might have been they were still the Red Stockings at that point, before the Red Sox stole our name. But the Braves still not done. How about, a few batters later, Marcell Ozuna comes up to the plate. Austin Riley, Matt Olson on base. Not anymore. Just like that, 3-run homer from between the 4th and the 5th inning. Went from a quiet game to the Braves have scored 6 straight runs, and they're up 6-1. Probably, didn't do a lot of scoring after that is the only problem. But fun fact, the Braves now have set and passed, every day is a new record now for the National League home runs in a season by a team, passing the Dodgers in 2019, on pace to pass the American League team, which is the Twins, set the all-time record that year. 2019, y'all remember too, the ball was a little bit juiced up. So everybody was just creaming the ball. That does not seem to be the case this year. This seems to be a Braves exclusive phenomenon. Because the thing is, they're just destroyed. They're so far ahead of the next best team when it comes to home runs. But the Braves, had to make it a little bit interesting. I guess maybe they were bored. Phillies end up coming back a little bit. I thought they kind of made a mistake pulling Max Fried when they did. Maybe didn't want to save some of those innings. It's easy to forget he did just not so long ago come off the injured list. And, maybe Snicker's like, oh, we got this. Bullpen can take it from here. But Max pitched 5 innings, only gave up 4 hits, most of them there at the back part of it. Maybe that was part of the reason, was he started getting up a little more hits. Snicker takes him out. He only gave up the 1 run on the home run, struck out 6, only walked 2. Only pitched 87 pitches, but not too bad. ERA right now 2.64. Could have ended up with a win still if the bullpen hadn't kind of let us down in this one. Tonkin pitched a couple innings, gave up a run. Did strike out 3, though, so good for him. Called me a couple of hits. But then Joe Yonez coming in to start the 8th inning. And just like that, 3 hits, 3 runs, 2 home runs. One of those, of course, going to Trey Turner. Oh, wait, nope. Doesn't make any sense. Oh, I guess he came on. No, that was this thing's so annoying. No, that was the single. So, yeah, that was the one. Trey Turner gave up the RBI single or got that off of Michael Tonkin. And then in the 8th inning, 2 home runs. Good. Bryce Harper hits the ball 430 feet. Then, old Stott Castellanos, who hit the homer to start the game, there in the second. He's on base. So that's a 2-run homer. And just like that, it went from a game where you felt like the Braves, we're going to kind of cruise into the night on this one, to this, the W is in serious jeopardy. And just, the ninth inning, that was like, hey, we'll put Raisel Iglesias up there. But we knew it was going to be rough because it was like the meat of the order coming up to the plate. And Trey Turner did not disappoint the home fans in this one. He's been on a tear ever since he got booed, and then they gave him the standing ovation. He has been really damn good. He tied the game. So, Iglesias ends up getting the win, but gets a blown save in this one. But thanks to Eddie Rosario and Forrest Wall, Braves, had the opportunity to get the win, and Brad Hand coming on in a save situation. And they were taking on, it was like mostly the left-handers pitching there, or coming up to the plate. And it worked out. He struck out one. Nobody gets on base. Braves win. And Brad Hand, his first save of the season. And Craig Kimbrell the loss. Great game for the Braves. And just the fact that they just keep making history. It's a beautiful thing. And, see the highlights of this game, let's talk about our best hitters. Eddie Rosario with the clutch will go ahead, what ends up being the winning hit, the winning RBI. He was 3 of 5 in this game. He's in 267 on the season. Marcell Ozuna has just been having an incredible season after the abysmal beginning to it. It was terrible. A lot of people were like, man, should he even be out there anymore? Should we be trying to get somebody else? But Brian Snitker stuck with him, and Marcell Ozuna made it pay off eventually. This is a guy who was hitting .07 something, near the end of the first month of the season. So the way he's been able to just do an incredible job. And not on a hitting streak, because he did have the over 4 games to end the Pittsburgh series and to start this one. But just starting a new one. Just like most of these games, though, the multi-hit games, way more than we've had from him in the past. Just great season for old Marcell Ozuna there. And who else? All right. I hate when the ESPN thing just reloads it all. Matt Olson, 204 in this one, on his way very soon, I believe, to breaking the all-time Braves home run record for a single season. Andruw Jones is okay with it, though, so it's cool. Austin Riley, 1 of 3. He walked twice, though, so he got on base 3 times. Orlando Arcia also walked twice, despite being 0 for 3. So good for him still finding a way on base. Ozzie Albies, kind of quiet. He has been back and forth, it feels like, since he came back from the injury list. Never really bad, but not quite as good as you would normally expect. Definitely feels like more 0 of 5 games than we're used to from Ozzie Albies. But I think a lot of that is just getting back in the swing of things. And he's still breaking through with some, had some multi-hit games mixed in. But he's been sitting there at 29 homers for a while. I think maybe tonight is the night Ozzie Albies hits home run number 30 on the season. So the Braves can really get some history going. This is a crazy thing. It really feels like every night there's multiple histories. In the same night, we had the should-be surefire MVP Ronald Acuna Jr. With a home run breaks the modern run scored record for the Braves. And then going back to the night through the 1900s to now, pretty much because King Kelly could run, could score, but it's a different era. And then of course Matt Olson tying the all-time record for home runs in a season, while the team itself breaks and sets a new all-time National League record for home runs in a season. So it's always something. These guys just keep doing it. Let's have us a little look-see at the stats for the Braves for the season. Probably be a quick episode today. Not a whole lot. I mean, it was just so... I feel like I've been saying the same things, man. I don't know what to say about the Braves anymore. They're just that damn good. That damn good. But we do have Spencer Strider will be on the mound tonight. Then the Braves will be off for a day before going down to Miami to face the Marlins. Should be a good series. The Marlins trying to fight for a little bit of a wild card spot. And no probable pitchers mentioned for that series yet. I would expect A.J. Smith-Shawver to maybe get his way in there at some point, but it's also possible they've put him out of the bullpen, even though they haven't used him yet out of the bullpen, which makes me think he'll probably get a start. But we could find out tonight because they might end up needing an extra arm in the bullpen tonight, having the 4 games in 3 days. But the Braves, man, that was win number 95 on the season for this team. Just what a year for our beloved Bravos. And let's look at, like I said, loaded up finally. And the thing is, when it comes to this history they're making, they're not done. I mean, Matt Olson could threaten for the modern RBI record as well. He's got 128. I believe it's like 130 something. Like, he could do it. Actually, let me look that up. That's going to take too long to do. Try to type all that shit. Let's just look at this one. But yeah, he's got 128 RBI this season. Ronald Acuna Jr., 97. Ozzie Albies, 93. Like Austin Riley, 85. I mean, we're going to have at least 3 guys with 100 RBIs this season. And when it comes to the home runs, I mean, Matt Olson, 51. Ronald Acuna Jr. at 37, which, remember like when the Braves were playing the Dodgers and everyone's like, well, Mookie Betts has, a bunch more home runs than Ronald Acuna Jr. And that's why he's a better, deserves the MVP, because Ronald's just stealing bases. And ever since then, Acuna's still been stealing bases, but not quite at the same rate. But he has been upped his ante and up the pace of the home runs. And he's up to 37, so I feel like you can't really use the home run argument against him anymore. I still feel like if you look at the stats, like, I agree. I mean, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Matt Olson having incredible seasons. But Ronald Acuna Jr., is just doing things that hadn't been done. He's about to have a 40-70 season. There's never even been a 30-60 season. And he's just going to keep going. And his average is high. That's the thing, too. Like, his batting average is up there, man. You gotta tell me he doesn't start. He's 333. Like, he's hitting so damn good. I don't want to hear about, OPS being a few points lower, this or that. And, like, people try, some people try to say batting average doesn't matter. I'm like, how the fuck does that, that's stupid. Batting average is, classic stat that makes sense and shows you how much you get hits. I mean, that's kind of what the game's about. So right now the Braves have been, still sitting there with 4 guys with 30 homers. I still think Ozzie gets in there, but just so impressive having 9 players with at least 15 homers. 10 Braves, 10 hitters on this team have at least 10 homers, or at least 11. Travis d'Arnaud is the last one in that club. But shit, Kevin Pillar can still hit 3 more. But just the fact you have 10 guys with double-digit home runs. You only have 9 guys hitting on a daily basis. And shit, we could end up with 9 guys with 20 homers. That's not, unreasonable. I mean, Michael Harris II, he's probably not going to hit 4 homers over the rest of the season. But wilder shit has happened. And, Orlando Arcia already has a career high at 17. He can get hot and get 20. Probably not going to happen, but it's still a pretty damn impressive season anyway. Just what the Braves have been able to do and still continue to do. And let's see. Total bases, Acuna has 345. Matt Olson has 339. Let's look at them in the overall scheme of things when it comes to offensive stats as well, to really get a good picture of how damn good this team is. Of course, Freddie is hitting better average-wise than Acuna, but not by a lot. Acuna is the 4th best hitter in baseball. Luis Arraez, who was competing with 400, but not going to happen. Still, 348 is a really damn good season. And home run-wise, you got Matt Olson leading the league. Ronald Acuna is number 6. Then Ozuna and Riley both tied for 10th. And Mookie Betts is he's got 39, so he's barely ahead of Acuna right now. And right behind Acuna, a familiar face, Jorge Soler, who we will be seeing in Miami, I believe, this weekend. And RBIs, Matt Olson has 23 more RBIs than the next guy in Major League Baseball. Pete Alonso has 105. Kyle Tucker has 104. And Mookie Betts has 103. But that's only 4 more than Ronald Acuna Jr., so I don't think that's significant enough to really make a difference. Ronald is 8th, like barely 1 RBI behind Julio Rodriguez. And, well, Max Muncy, that's a name I didn't expect to see. I know he got some RBIs against us, but he is tied with Julio Rodriguez, right ahead of Ronald Acuna when it comes to total RBIs. And the top 2 players in baseball when it comes to total bases are both our beloved Bravos, Ronald Acuna Jr., Matt Olson. And right behind them, former Brave, though we also love Freddie Freeman with 331. Shohei and Mookie Betts round out the top 5 there. And to me, that's a very impressive stat. You know, that was one of Hank Aaron, I think, one of his most proud kind of records. Not just the home run record, but the fact that he did it in so many other ways. That it was tops when it came to that. And Acuna, like, the next closest person when it comes to stolen bases, Ruiz out of Oakland with 58. And then the potential rookie of the year, Corbin Carroll out of Arizona with 47. And Bobby Witt Jr., who has had an awesome year, could end up with a 30, 40 year. He already got the 40 stolen bases, close to 30 homers. Really good year, despite it being a struggle over there for the team. But fun, this team, man, it's just so much fun to watch the Braves and see what they're able to do. But obviously, the Phillies still feel like no matter what happens with the regular season, they can beat us in the playoffs because recent history, a.k.a. last year, shows that. It also shows, the year the Cardinals beat us, 2019, in the playoffs when it looked like we were about to, go all the way to the World Series, and they spoiled our fucking party. Go back to 1993. Braves won the NL East, looking to go back to the World Series, try to get some revenge. After losing to the Blue Jays, Phillies send them packing, and they lose to the Blue Jays. But it's a fun time. We're getting down into the nitty gritty of things. Talked about division leaders yesterday. Today's Wild Card Wednesday, so let's look at the wild card races. Doesn't necessarily affect us, but I'd love to see the Phillies fall out of it because I don't want to see them in the playoffs after what we just talked about. Like, hey, I'm fine with just somehow. Let's beat them enough in the regular season to where the Diamondbacks, the Reds can catch up. Because the Diamondbacks already have the 3rd wild card spot. The Phillies are 3.5 games up on the Cubs. Up on the Diamondbacks. The Cubs are 2 games up on the Diamondbacks for that last spot. But Cincinnati's only a game out. San Francisco and Miami, a game and a half. And, technically San Diego's not eliminated or Pittsburgh or New York Mets. But they pretty much are. I think it comes down now, those 6 teams. And we might push the Marlins out of contention this next few days. But they'll be playing hard against us, so the Braves can't be sleeping on them. But I'd love to see the Cubs. I want to see the Padres. I just don't see that happening. 8 games out of that last spot. So it's probably going to be the Phillies and the Cubs and either the Diamondbacks or the Reds. But hopefully something happens and the Phillies fall apart and the Reds can take their spot. But they're like 4.5 behind them. So some shit's got to happen. We're going to have to help them out. Let's do that by winning the division tonight and then beating them in Atlanta when they come to town. How about the American League wild card? You got the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Still, struggling to catch, trying to catch up with the Orioles. They've won 7 of the last 10, won their most recent game. They are 8.5 games up on the final wild card spot. So they pretty much got, they're either they're going to win the division or win the wild card. One of the two. Texas has gone on a nice little winning streak after struggling there for a minute. They've won their last 4 games. And they are half a game up on the Mariners now. So nobody from the Central is getting a wild card spot. That much we know for sure. Pretty much I believe it's going to come down to these 4 teams. Because Boston and New York technically have a chance. They're 7 games out. They're not eliminated yet. Neither are the Cleveland Guardians at 11.5 or even the Angels at 12.5 out. But I don't see anybody else. And I think that maybe one of the Red Sox or Yankees could go on a run. But I think it comes down to Tampa, Texas, Seattle, and Toronto. Or Houston, because Texas and Seattle could catch them. But right now, Seattle and Toronto are tied for that last wild card spot. Just half a game behind the Texas Rangers. And, of course, the Mariners are half a game behind the Texas Rangers, in the regular division, too, in the division. So where the Rays are 3 games behind the Orioles. Cleveland's, just as far away from the wild card as they are from, you're not much closer to the division. The Twins are 7.5 up, and they've won 6 of the last 10, while Cleveland won last night, but overall they've lost 7 of the last 10, so not helping themselves out. Detroit lost in extra innings to the Reds, so I think that pretty much puts them out of contention. But right now in the American League West, it's 3 teams all within a game and a half of each other. So, those 3 teams, somebody, going to be battling it out, because the wild card is going to be a tough race where you've got 2 teams from the American League East trying to get in there, and you got 2 teams from the American League West. I mean, right now whereas in the National League, there's only 3 teams. Only the division leaders have more than 80 wins in the National League. In the American League, there's 3 teams in each of the American League East and the American League West with 80 wins. And while Baltimore and Tampa got some distance there, they battle it out. And like whoever loses that battle will be the top wild card team. But, it's really close. I mean, Toronto has 80 wins. Texas has 80 wins. Seattle has 80 wins. Houston only has 82, so they're not that far. They don't have it clinched in the West by any stretch of the imagination. Any one of those 3 teams can win the West. Any one of those, 5, 6 teams can win the wild card. So it's gonna be interesting to watch down the stretch, see what happens. If the Braves win tonight, though, they do clinch another National League East title. And it would bring them closer to 50 wins on the season. Right now, on the road, the Braves actually have a better record on the road by half a game than at home. Like almost identical records. 47-25 at home, 48-25 on the road. Still just destroying people when it comes to run differential. Like nobody's even close, really. The Dodgers are within almost about 50. That's as close as it gets. They got 178 positive. The Braves are 239. Scored 848 runs this season. Way more than anybody else. The next best team when it comes to scoring runs, the Dodgers. So they're only 30 ahead of the Dodgers. They're 29. They're 819, but still, they've given up way less runs too. So that's still shaping up to be quite the battle in the NLCS. I'm sure these wild card teams would love to spoil that. But I would not be one bit surprised if the Braves and the Dodgers facing off in the National League Championship Series again. And also, I believe we, I like our chances. I know we've fucked it up before. Maybe we can, Braves Mariners World Series, baby. When I first said it, I feel like I kind of willed it into existence, the possibility. It's still a long way to go. Seattle, they could still miss the playoffs despite how damn good they've been playing lately. There's only 3 wild card spots and one division winner for each division. So there's a possibility they miss the playoffs, but the way they play now, saying they make the World Series is nowhere near the crazy thing you might have thought it was at certain points this year. Even the beginning when I first said it, I would have loved that. Julio Rodriguez and Ronald Acuna Jr. in the World Series. Oh, baby. Tell me more. Tell me more. See what else is going on. I did see that with the Panthers news that they signed Tariq Cohen, who hasn't played in the NFL since getting injured 2020 with the Bears, and then he got hurt tore his Achilles, I believe, preseason or training camp the next season, and has been out in the league for a minute. But he's on the practice squad, so giving him some work. Maybe thought we need a little more going on offense. Which definitely, feels like the case because we'll see how I think Miles Sanders will do better his second game as a Panther, considering he had been dealing with injuries pretty much the entire preseason, so limited the amount of work he was getting going into week 1, I believe. And the big question will be, can the secondary step up? Because I believe Brian Burns and Derek Brown and company, Frankie Louvu, all these dudes, maybe even Amir Barno can get in there. I think these guys can make, they can make Derek Carr uncomfortable. You look last week at home, the Saints only scored 16 points. They won, which we didn't do, but we were on the road. This game at home in prime time, I think Brian Burns going to show y'all even more while the Panthers need to just pay the damn man. Period. End of statement. And let's see if there's any other NFL news. I forgot to look at any NFL stuff, but we'll see. It's crazy thing. We're already, week 2 of the NFL season, man. Week 1 went by quick. But we got week 2 kicks off tomorrow. Vikings and Eagles. Only on Prime Video. See how that game goes. Eagles. I was surprised the Vikings losing at home the way they did week 1. Eagles, it was a little closer than I thought it'd be going up against the Patriots, but they still got the win. Still feel like they got a very good chance of winning their division. But the Cowboys, who just beat the Giants 40-0, will have something to say about that, I'm sure. Definitely excited because the Panthers, the prime time is a Monday Night Football doubleheader. Of course, the Panthers are the one on ABC. ESPN2, while the Browns and Steelers is the ABC game. But it should be a good. We'll see how the Browns do after they just destroyed and shut down Joe Burrow at home. Now they got to go on the road where the Steelers normally pretty good at home, but didn't look so good week 1. I feel like, Mike Tomlin probably gets them back in shape for that one. We'll talk more about the upcoming games before too long. See, make sure there's not any Panthers news that's popped up. And, yeah, I still can't believe the Panthers haven't paid Brian Burns. All that they turned down to keep him. But, and then just like that. Oh, and apparently the NFL, their Players Association, in wake of the Aaron Rodgers injury, is another time they were like, hey, how about grass fields? Because a lot of players say it's easier to get hurt on that fake-ass grass. And maybe so. I mean, it was a torn Achilles on the 4th play, and they're saying change all field surfaces to natural grass. Because they apparently they installed some new turf called field turf at MetLife Stadium up there in Jersey. And it's softer and more forgiving than the stadium's previous turf. But most players seem to say that there's a big difference. Even with good turf, it's still turf. And there's something, that natural grass is just better. Because it is natural. It is the way, millions of years of evolution, has made this grass. As opposed to some guy who thinks he's a genius who just wants, hey, let's put more microplastics out there. Probably going into the guys' bodies. But we're going to all be made of plastic in 20 years. So what's it matter anyway? But it was kind of, it's just wild to see, Sucks for him, sucks for the Jets. Still, even though they say Zach Wilson is their guy, either they're already looking or they'll start looking if he doesn't improve. But maybe Aaron Rodgers could rub off on Zach Wilson. Even not play him could end up being good for Zach Wilson, or he could really just be like, get his ass kicked out the door because he plays so bad. But that defense, man, took him to a win. So that could go a long way to how, they deal with Zach Wilson. If he can benefit and take advantage of the fact that his defense is balling out. And if the defense can maintain that. Because sometimes you'll have that, moment where you just get overly excited. Maybe Josh Allen was just forcing it. But I still think it's tough to have your defense carry you. You're going to need more from your quarterback than you've had in the past. And they thought they had that, but now they're just back to old Zach. But hey, man, it's an exciting time. I love this time of year. You got, the NBA will be starting in about a month. The Hawks, I saw, locked up their roster heading into the season. Just trying to sign Trent Forrester to the final 3-way deal that was available. No moves yet. Maybe the way Bogey played in the World Cup, I should stop talking so much trash about wanting to trade Bogey. And I don't think he's bad. I just think we overpaid him. And if we could turn him and somebody else into, 2 players into one better player, it'd be kind of cool. But I feel like the Pascal Siakam, the asking price was getting too high. And that's the only really trade I've heard talked about involving the Hawks. And I want to make a trade like that unless you really feel like you can lock him in and get him on an extension or a deal where he didn't seem like he wanted to get traded and would maybe just go straight back to the Raptors. And that would suck to give up some promising players and then that happened. But I'm looking forward. I mean, I like the rotation. We got Patty Mills, Kobe Buffkin, as backup point guards. The backup shooting guard, of course, you got Bogey. Maybe AJ Griffin can be a shooting guard or a small forward. Sadiq Bey, listed as a backup small forward, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them play him at the 4 occasionally too, because he, at his best, he can play bigger. And Jalen Johnson, of course, will be like the lead guy, one of the main guys to get some of those power forward minutes. Hopefully, good chance for him to grow as a player. And Mo Gay, the rookie, showed a lot of promise. And as of now, we still have Clint Capella and Onyeka Okongwu. And honestly, I kind of like the idea of having Okongwu as a power forward occasionally. I'm still not sure if he has the overall size to be a center, but that's something to keep an eye on. And of course, one more thing of basketball news. Kind of exciting. LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant look like they might be in recruitment mode. And I don't know if you would call this maybe the redream, because we had the dream team in 92. You had the redeem team, was it in 2008, I think it was, with LeBron and these guys. And now we're going to call it the redream team. Redream or redream. We'll decide on the exact pronunciation later. But I guess the thing people want to talk about, Noah Lyles was right because the USA lost in the FIBA World Cup. Yeah, but these aren't our best players. And I still think when it comes down to it, the champions in the National Basketball Association would beat any, maybe not like a national team, but they would beat, I believe, any actual professional team anywhere in a series. I mean, yeah, anybody can lose one game, but I think a series they would win. And maybe even against these teams, because the main problem with Team USA is, number one, there's only a couple All-Stars. I mean, these guys are good players. I mean, they would make me look like way less than a scrub. I mean, I hadn't even shot a ball in 15 years. But, these aren't the best players in America. I mean, you could say the other teams will have the best either because Joker didn't play, Giannis didn't play. But still, it's this wasn't the best team assembled. This is just the guys they got. And you got Kyle Kuzma's we need role players. I'm yeah, you're trying to get yourself in there, Kuz? No, you need actual stars that are willing to play roles, but actual stars, superstars. And from the rumors I'm hearing, they're going to be putting together a squad. Because that's some guys, everybody's going to listen to at least one of those 3 players. Everybody in the NBA, can get, especially when it comes to the stars. Think about it. You got LeBron, KD, and Steph. You're going to listen to one of those 3, at least. And if you build a team around them and a team that's willing to do what it takes, that's a gold. I don't care what it is. That's a gold medal team. Just those 3, you throw in maybe, let's see, because that would be, your point, and your small forward and your power forward. The main thing would be figuring out a center. I have heard rumors. I didn't heard it in this batch, but before these rumors, I'd heard that they might try to recruit Joel Embiid because he's now an American citizen, so he could technically play. And I don't know if Cameroon has a team either. I think that's where he's from in Africa originally. But either way, you get Joel Embiid, and that makes a huge difference. And you can probably find, we got Anthony Davis already that could be on the team. And Jaren Jackson Jr., I don't think is a bad, backup guy when it comes to a dreamish team. But also, they had injuries as well. Brandon Ingram, who I would argue might have been their best player. Anthony Edwards was doing the most, but Brandon Ingram, I feel when it comes, what he can do at his best would have been definitely one of their top 3. Not having him for a couple games down the stretch definitely hurt them. But you factor in, you got those 3, especially LeBron gets AD. There's even saying Kyrie. You got Kyrie coming off the bench. You get Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, one of those guys in the starting lineup. Damian Lillard, especially, you get Dame time to close it out. Have a lineup on the field where you have Steph at the point, Dame shooting guard, LeBron and KD. And shit, you could go with all shooters in there. Maybe you don't even need a center. AD can shoot though. Throw him, that's a death lineup. Ain't nobody beating that. Dame and these guys. Dame, KD, and Steph all shooting at the same time. LeBron and AD. That's a team that's winning. That's winning gold. And that's the thing. This team, maybe like you got over-vilified, the NBA players got justified, but I still think the NBA has the best players in the world. I think that's why, I'm not saying it's a perfect argument, but I think that's the reason it's okay to call them world champions. Because it's not like everybody, it's not like it's 1991 and there's just a couple Europeans and everybody else is American. It's like, nah, man, like 92 changed shit. You got guys from everywhere, pretty much every continent. Like, you got NBA players. The best players in the world are not trying to play in a European league. I mean, on the way to playing in the NBA. But the NBA is the end goal for basically every basketball player in the world. That's where you want to play, because that's where the best in the world. And when you have the best in the world, you can call yourself a world champions. You can. I'm sorry. Like, obviously we came up short as a team, but I think this is different too about like national play when it comes to the Americans versus everyone else. And it's something that's bit us in the foot a lot. A lot of these national teams, it's like the soccer teams, they play together a lot. They played together, practiced together for years. The NBA, they're just kind of like, they don't do trials, and let's get these guys, they pick the guys, the good guys that are willing to play in it. And, Anthony Edwards is about to be, if he's not already, he's about to be a superstar. Jalen Brunson's super talented. Mikal Bridges, very impressive what he's been able to do. But they're not, none of these guys are what you would call superstars yet. Other than maybe Edwards. You could argue, but he's still, in ascension, in my opinion. But that's why I think it'd be great if the Timberwolves were the team that moves to Seattle. Not just so I'd be right, with A-Rod moving them there so he could be, vindicated in the eyes of the Seattle fans. But Anthony Edwards, on a team called the Seattle Supersonics, with the way he flies through the air, the way he plays the game, I'd be there for that. I'm there for that, as the kids say. But anyway, that's going to be it for me today. I'm going to get out of here and maybe try to enjoy the weather. I would say sunshine. Not very sunny right now. I know there's a chance of rain throughout the day, but not a high amount. And it's man, I got to get out. It's been so hot last couple months. He's kind of just been miserable. I want to enjoy some not hot weather. But hey, hope y'all have a great day. I'll definitely be watching our beloved Bravos later tonight. Hopefully you are too. Follow on and subscribe on Spotify, the Babbling Brook, so you can not miss a babble. The best babbles in the business, baby. And I will be here tomorrow to talk to y'all once again. Early in the morning, I'll be posting an episode talking about the Braves and whatever else ends up happening between now and then. Definitely going to watch Ahsoka today. Catch up on the new Star Wars episode. Excited to see what happens in the galaxy farther away. Spoiler alert. But hey, man, hope y'all have a great day. Come back for more of your new favorite podcast tomorrow and maybe the day after that. Who knows? It's all a crapshoot, but baby, come back, see more, hear more, whatever. Hope you enjoyed the show. I enjoyed babbling a little bit for y'all today. And that's it. Peace out.